Hey everybody, this is Amanda Davis, owner and founder of Business Solutions by Design, your accounting ally. Coming back to you this April talking about all things information management and records. So basically we're talking about your computer and what's on your desktop and how to maybe hopefully get a little bit organized since it is April and spring cleaning is in the air. So getting all your stuff together and trying to find good organized ways to manage the information. First of all, you want to make sure you're doing things that are secure, so you need to have good security on your computer system and make sure that you're not sending secure information over non-secure formats like email. Sending your social security and date of birth and passwords over email may not be the most secure thing to do. So try to keep that in mind whenever you've got things going on, and password protect and encrypt where you can. Be careful also when you're dealing with unsecure networks. As a matter of fact, I just simply won't connect to anything unsecured if I'm not at home with my direct internet that's as secure as I can possibly get it at this point. I just won't work. When I'm out in the coffee shop, but just connect to the internet that everybody else is connecting to. So there's my little soapbox about security, but also about organization. So here's another factor. Your machine could have problems. So it could have a virus, it could crash. There's so many things that can happen. So saving stuff and backing it up is probably a good plan for you to also have when it comes to your information and your records. We do a lot of stuff with cloud-based solutions that are as secure as we can possibly get them as well. So I try to work within those spaces, not only because we have a virtual team, so if something's on my desktop, my team doesn't have access to it. And if it's living in my head, my team doesn't have access to it. We've had that conversation over and over and over again. So we need to actually get it to a point where if something happens to your actual physical computer or device, that you can use it in other places. So I have a habit of working with Microsoft 365, so we can actually use and store stuff online, or if it's Dropbox, or if it's Google Docs and Google Sheets and all that good stuff. There's lots of different ways to share information so that it's not just living in a place that could be vulnerable. If you're not comfortable in a cloud-based solution, you may want to get a backup, maybe a backup hard drive, that kind of thing. So lots of different ways that you can do it, especially with financial data. I mean, if you're working with QuickBooks Desktop, you better be backing that up or have it on a hosted site. And even if it's on a hosted site, you probably want to back that up, because I've just seen so many times where things crashed and there's just so many hours of work that has to go back into it. And that's not even just finances. I mean, you could be working on any kind of document, maybe a spreadsheet, maybe it's a business plan, maybe it's a presentation, and just and everything goes out. So be careful to make sure that you get things backed up and save and all that good stuff, so that your information and records are kept and you can get access to them, all of that. That's really great. But also organize. Like, I'm one of those type A personalities, so I go over somebody else's computer, and we're working on it, and there's like documents everywhere. And I was like, how do you find anything on there? How is it? Where is it? And so, and I'm guilty of it. You go to save something, you put it on the desktop because it's quick, and you're doing this, that, and the other thing, and then you're ended up with like 20 or 50 documents that you saved there. And then I've got to go do a presentation, and the last thing I want to do is show my desktop with a bajillion different documents that very well may have secure information. So I'll make a little folders like desktop files, and I throw everything in there, and I can go clean that out. Doing that is really helpful. So making sure that you've got a clear and concise, organized system and follow it. Even with your email, I've got folders where I file things away, and my goal is to have 0 inbox. It's gonna happen, I swear. But to make sure that you process the information, and you can either do a few things. You can be like, hey, this has to be done now. Okay, if it has to be done now, will it take 2 minutes or less? If yes, get it done. Will it not take 2 minutes or longer? Okay, then you got to say, are you going to do it, or is somebody else going to do it for you? And then you just disseminate from there. But at the end of the day, you need to take everything in there and make it a priority. Otherwise, you put in this beautiful system, right? Everybody does this, and you get organized. You get all this stuff in its place, and then you go back right to your old habits. And now you can't find your keys because you didn't put them in the place that you normally should put them. But you need to put those keys in the same place every time and be very religious about following that organization that you set up. So I would recommend doing that digitally with all of your files and say, you know, how is this something that you have to keep? Is it something you can get rid of? And if you're going to keep it, what is that going to look like? How frequently are you going to get in there? Because at the end of the day, I call it mental clutter. You look at something and it looks like a mess and you're just like, some people it works, you know, like they've got that pile system, like I know what's in that pile and that pile and that pile. If that works for you, cool. Make sure it works for you, whatever your system is, and keep it up and be very religious. So I hope that you use some good tools so that you can manage your documents and records electronically and it works for you. Hey, let us know in the comments what's going on and maybe we'll get some good ideas from you. Until then, this is Amanda Davis, owner and founder of Business Solutions by Design, signing off. We will talk to you next week. Bye now.